I always said to myself one day I would make this video if I ever decided to make a YouTube channel. And that day has come. Uh, Today is the birthday of the late great Owen Hart, who was born on this day and who ironically died on this month at the age of 34 back in 1999. And it sucks because I feel like Owen's death overshadowed his career, but I don't look at it that way. The way I see it, everybody should be celebrating his career, all the great matches that he put on throughout the years, and just about how great of a guy he was. Even from like the backstage, politics and everything. Nobody, from what I heard, nobody ever had anything bad to say about Owen Hart. And this is why he's my favorite wrestler of all time. As you guys would know, I have mentioned it before. But Owen was that guy who should have been on top by 1994, who should have been WWE champion around the 90s. Whether it was his brief push in 1994 or when they decided to give him such a brief push by late 97, early 98, feuding with DX after Bret's departure to WCW. I loved his moveset. I thought he was one of the best heels. Even though his promos were pretty funny, I kicked your leg out of your leg. Botch, but it happened. But I think he was just a well-rounded superstar altogether. Technical skill, high-flying skill, had the charisma. And I think he had everything it took to become a main event player in the WWE, if not anywhere else. Yeah, Owen was such a phenomenal wrestler, and I've always chose Owen over Bret. A lot of people may say they're a Bret Hart guy. DVD Freaks has mentioned he was a Bret Hart guy. But I will always choose Owen over Bret. And I love Owen and Bret equally, but when it comes to putting them in chronological order, Owen is that top guy. So, as a special tribute on Owen Hart's, on what would have been Owen Hart's 55th birthday today, I'm going to be naming my top 5 favorite Owen Hart matches of all time. So, we're going to go down at number 5, and that's going to be Owen Hart versus the 1-2-3 Kid at King of the Ring 1994. Now, a lot of you guys may be saying that's one of your favorite matches. It's one of the shortest matches. It may have been a short match, but what they delivered in such a short amount of time was so good, I had to put that on top. And that was actually one of the first Owen Hart matches I became an Owen Hart fan, when he won the 1994 King of the Ring. And honestly, after that, that's when Owen should have been pushed big, especially his match at SummerSlam against Bret Hart, which comes in at number 4 for me. Him versus Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1994 in the steel cage match. I think that match overall was probably one of the best steel cage matches. And him and Bret, well, besides from maybe like Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard, the Matt Hardy Edge rivalry back in 2005, the steel cage match they had at Unforgiven. But going back to Owen, him and Bret, I believe they had Feud of the Year in 1994 with the whole brother versus brother rivalry that was going on. And I think that really should have catapulted, excuse me, his career and at least be WWE champion by late '94. Now he did briefly win the WWE championship in a lumberjack match against Brett, but they ended up restarting the match, and Brett ended up retaining his title. So Owen was this close to winning a WWE championship. Coming in at uh, number three would actually have to be Owen Hart versus Edge at Breakdown '98. Now, looking back at this match, you know, both of these guys put on a phenomenal uh, singles match. Edge, who was just freshly new coming into the business, who just started in WWE. I think he debuted back in June of '98, and this match was September. So 3 months into Edge's WWE career. Um, he had a really good match against Owen Hart. Now, Owen Hart ended up picking up the win that night after Christian made his debut and distracted Edge. Owen got the roll up and upset it over Edge. But that match, I I'm hoping, guaranteed that Edge was really picking at Owen's brain at the time. And I think those two picking each other's brain um that night, ended up being one of the greatest matches, even though that wasn't the main draw that night. And now look at Edge, Hall of Famer, and he just recently came back for a match at WrestleMania against Orton. And now there's supposedly going to be a rematch next Monday on Raw, which I really don't think that's a good idea. Um, just because of how the match at Mania ended. That should have just ended the rivalry there, Have Edge pick up a new opponent, a new challenger at least. Maybe AJ Styles in the near future, maybe SummerSlam. But that's my biased opinion. Coming in at number two was the European Championship match, the finals of the European Championship tournament back on February 27th of 1997 between Owen and the Bulldog. Let me tell you, whether they're facing each other or they're a tag team, those two put on some very electrifying matches. Bulldog ended up picking the win that night and actually became the longest reigning European champion for about July, August, September, for about 8 months, which was a very lengthy reign at the time until Shawn Michaels picked up the win, which I think Bulldog's reign probably would have been a little bit longer, but I think the only reason why they dropped it was because they knew he was probably going to leave after Montreal. And that match was stellar. It definitely was. Definitely a stellar match for Owen and the Bulldog. And it's just crazy to think that those two are no longer with us. And obviously, coming in at number one, for me, my favorite opening match in WrestleMania history, my favorite WrestleMania opening match of all time, Owen versus Brett. Now, not only were they able to tell a story outside the ring, but inside the ring, and the fact that Owen ended up getting the pinfall after a victory roll-up gone wrong by Bret Hart, and then you see that little saliva off of Owen's mouth, which is probably a classic image for Owen, because every time I see that, I'm just like, dude, wipe your face, you know. But such a great opening match, and for that match and um, being one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time with like Shawn Michaels and Razor that night. Right away, at the beginning of the show, that match stole the show. If not, Razor and Shawn definitely did. But when it comes to Owen Hart matches, from the heart, no pun intended, that's one of my favorite Owen Hart matches of all time. And they have some honorable mentions. I liked Owen versus Shawn at In Your House 6 back in 1995. Was it 95 or 96? Correct me on the year, but that was such a great match. If you want to go even earlier into Owen's career, look at Barry Horowitz versus Blue Angel at the LA Sports Arena. I believe it was in 1987, but I'll leave a link to that match in the description down below. Um, Not a main draw, but it was definitely um, a good, steady match for what it was, especially for a jobber like Horowitz. Give you a pat on the back for that one, Barry. But yeah, just looking back at Owen's career, it definitely gets me emotional at times. The way he went out, you know, born into the wrestling business, you die in the ring, tragically, which I'm really looking forward to the Dark Side of the Ring episode with Owen. Um, Martha finally sharing, never before seen stuff, basically just sharing the final days of Owen's life. And I might do a review on that episode, but the way I see it, if Owen had never died, obviously he would have won the IC championship that night against the Godfather as his Blue Blazer gimmick. He reprised the gimmick back in 98, 99. Which I think probably would have led to a future potential rivalry with him and his former tag team champion partner, Jeff Jarrett. Because I know there was some rumor that before the whole um, thing in the Raptors, he was supposed to have sent from the Raptors with these like these cables. Um, he was supposed to have a rivalry with Jarrett over like it was supposed to be like an affair with Deborah. Deborah was supposed to be cheating on Jeff with Owen, and that would have led to a potential feud. But no, where Owen's career would have went after that, I think he would have retired. Um, I think he would have pursued other interests. I know he wanted to be a fighter. I know him and Martha were in the process of moving into their dream house prior to his death. And I think he was ready to retire from wrestling either that year or maybe the year following, maybe. Um, Not real much confirmation on how long his contract was at the time. But the way I see it, I love Owen Hart personally as a human, but not only as a human, but as an athlete. And the things that he contributed throughout the years were phenomenal and memorable. And hopefully one of these days, as much as the Hall of Fame's shit in WWE, I hope he gets that proper recognition sometime in the foreseeable future. Because Owen Hart is the king, Two-time Slammy Award winner, two-time IC champion, a European champion, four-time tag team champion, 1987 PWI Rookie of the Year, former IWGP Junior Heavyweight title champion, an unrecognized 1994 Royal Rumble winner, 1994 King of the Ring, of course. Guy had it all. And I think by late 1997, he should have gotten that push against Shawn Michaels and at least held the WWE Championship for at least a month. And here's the way I see it. Have him win it on the last episode of Raw back in 97. That was December 29th. Have him go into the Royal Rumble, but have Shawn and Undertaker still proceed with their feud. Have it a casket match, but having a number one contenders match, having one of those two face Owen later in that night at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, Kane costs Undertaker. Shawn would still suffer his back injury, but he would still go on to feud with Owen that night, which would lead to the Triple H Owen feud with Triple H interfering in that match, costing Owen the championship, leading to Owen and Triple H at WrestleMania 14. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but let me know in the comment section down below. What would you guys think about that potential on how the storyline would have been? The way I kind of twisted it a little bit. But Owen Hart, man, Heart of Gold. Once again, no pun intended to the DVD that was released. As much as that was a good DVD, definitely not the best, because obviously there was a lot of stuff left out, a lot of personal things that weren't showcased because Martha didn't want it. And yeah, man, happy birthday, Owen Hart, big 55. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Something a little bit different here as I sit down and talk to you guys. Hit that like button. Leave your comments down in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching my channel and you're not subscribed. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. And as always, Dan the Beast 94, signing off.